Hi everybody, I'm Charlie, and welcome back to On Air, my Beatles collection. Well, today I'm going to talk about Wings again. It's still Wings Week. And today the topic is the Wings Blu Ray. Here it is, right here. The Wings Blu Ray. I've already taken the shrink wrap off, so I'll do that. And first I'll tell you what it says on the shrink, but I'll show you close up what it shows on the shrink. Okay, if you want to pause that, but so it says Blu Ray collection, 32 tracks curated by Paul McCartney, 16-page booklet with introduction from Paul McCartney, Dolby Atmos, 5.1 surround mix, 24-bit, and stereo mix, 24-bit. So it's a very same style as the labels used on the other stuff with the appropriate information. Here it is without the shrink. And then on the back, here's the track list. So on this single DVD, and it is Blu-ray. On this Blu-ray, there is every song that's on the triple LP and on the double CD. So everything in the so-called Wings collection or Wings compilation, it's all right here. And it's here in surround, 5.1, and it's here in stereo. So I'll show you the book. Here's what it looks like when you open it up. The Blu-ray, I keep wanting to say DVD, but it's a Blu-ray, sorry. Here that is on a purple capital label. Pretty cool. And on the other side is the 16-page booklet. So that slides right out. Now I have to tell you, I haven't listened to this yet because I don't have access to my surround system from where I am. This has a lot of the poster pictures that were in the LP set and in the booklets and some of the other sets. So pictures with the various configurations of Wings over the years. So here's the booklet. This one has just a black and white Wings symbol. There were different colors on some of the other booklets. This is when you hold it open. It's got the same drawings that some of the other booklets had. And actually on the LP, you would get a separate, I guess you'd call it a poster of that or a lithograph, not sure. But a nicely done version of that came with the albums. There's Paul's intro. That's the same in all the different book configurations. And then mostly it's the individual credits for each song, who plays what. And it is a little bit confusing at times because there were times when, you know, it was already announced that so-and-so left the band, but yet the album came out after that and they're listed. Even like an album like London Town, which only had Paul, Linda, and Denny Lane on the cover. But the songs from London Town, you know, I don't know if that's true for the whole album. I haven't looked at it in a while. But the ones that are included here, there's still other Wings members that aren't in the band anymore. Jimmy McCulloch, for example. So anyway, that's the first 2 pages of the song details. And then you got the picture of all 9 Wings albums. I mentioned in my other videos about this set, you know, this Wings compilation, that they show Wings Over America as one of the 9 albums, which of course it was. But there are no tracks from Wings Over America on this set. And I said previously, I'm curious why they wouldn't have put Maybe I'm Amazed, because it was the hit version of it on radio was from the live album, and it was a hit. it was a big hit. And you would think on a hit compilation, they'd put it on here. But, you know, it was originally on McCartney, the first album. And so originally it wasn't a Wings song, but certainly a Wings version on the live album. So I think they missed an opportunity there. I'm looking at the band configuration for the song London Town. And I mentioned the cover is Paul, Linda, and Denny. But the band at that point for that song, first of all, it shows the writing credit as Paul and Denny. Most of the writing credits on here are Paul and Linda. But on the song London Town, it's Paul and Denny, and it says performers Paul McCartney, Linda McCartney, Denny Lane, Jimmy McCulloch, and Joe English. So the band was clearly in transition. Both of them left sometime while this album was being recorded. And so anyway, my point was that the band transitioned sometimes through albums where they started with one band and they finished with another, or they started with a band and ended with just Paul, Linda, and Denny. So this pretty much captures that if you read all the song credits. Anyway, I was looking at this page over here, but then it's a nice picture of the three primary Wings. Obviously, Denny was there all the way, from the very beginning till the very end. And then there's the last page of song credits. I wasn't sure on the Blu Ray if it would include every single song that's on the full complete set, and it does. And it does twice, you know, basically. It does on the surround mix, and it does on the stereo mix. The other thing I wasn't sure about till I found out on here is that the surround and Dolby Atmos mixes were by Giles Martin and Steve Orchard, and then mastered by Ole Morgan. So I wasn't sure about Giles's involvement in this. I've heard I haven't heard the surround version yet. You know, on iTunes you can listen to the Dolby Atmos, but you know, you're still, you know, most people are listening through a phone or an iPad, and they're Bluetoothing it up to their stereo system. Maybe they're Bluetoothing it up to their surround system, but you know, again, I don't have that opportunity here. So you know, on iTunes, you know, even if you're streaming, you can get the Dolby Atmos. But anyway, I expect the Blu Ray to be far better than anything Bluetooth, and although you know, Bluetooth is sounds pretty good generally. Depends on your system, of course. I have a nice Polk surround system waiting to eat this Blu Ray and feed it back to me. So we'll see how it goes. So anyway, that's the credits, and then there's more of the credits that relate to the packaging, the production, and other things that don't have anything to do specifically with the songs, but have to do with production of this set, and you know, Hypnosis, the company that does a lot of the design work for a lot of rock bands, you know, famously for Pink Floyd and others, and they've done quite a bit for Paul as well. So you know, they were involved in this, and I was looking for the name of the guy that did the drawing, but oh, here it is, Humphrey Ocean. Yeah, I knew the last name was Ocean, but I wanted to make sure I got the first name right. So Humphrey Ocean did this, and the basis for that's the inside of the front cover. The inside of the back cover is the same people in the same spot. So I can't show you both at the same time, obviously, but we can toggle. Maybe I can. So you know, have the wing symbol here because you have the whole band here, and then otherwise they're the individual. Now he didn't try to duplicate the picture with his drawing. Arguably, they're caricatures, and a lot of people have complained about the Paul right in the middle there. That a lot of people don't think it looks like him. You know, it looks like him to me. I don't know. Anyway, I have the 3 LP set. I didn't get the CDs. And I have the green vinyl Target / HMV exclusive, and that is a different set of songs. It's only a single album, so it's not all 32 songs. And as I said in the prior video, it's not the same song track list as the green vinyl album in the 3 LP set. So the 3 LP set, just to refresh everybody's memory, there's a clear vinyl, so disc 1. Disc 2 is green, and disc 3 is sort of pink. So I was very curious to find out, does the green one in the 3 LP set match the green one from Target / HMV? And it does not. About half of the songs are shared on each one, but the standalone green one also is available on black vinyl. So that's the one that's out there for people that will buy a single LP. And there's more of a hit concentration in there, I would say, than the middle volume of the 3 LP set. So anyway, probably said too much on that already. But anyway, I was really excited to get this. I just wish I could play it right now. I am going to Bluetooth it from iTunes, into my stereo system here where I'm at right now. And soon I will be listening to it in my comfy chair in my Beatles man cave with my surround system on. So I'm happy to get this today and get this today. Gonna put that back in there. I actually, if you're the type of person that likes to keep the shrink wrap intact and all that, I successfully removed the shrink wrap in such a way that I can actually, I cut the top, and I found that I can actually, I'm not going to try to do it here right now, but I found that I can actually slip it back into, see, I told you I wasn't going to do it, and I'm doing it anyway, but let's see if I can put it in there right now. Well, I don't want to do it because I don't want to mess up the shrink, but I successfully took it out of the shrink and put it back in the shrink, and then I took the shrink off again because I wanted to show you what it looked like without the shrink on it, and I also wanted to show you that label close up. So anyway, that is the Wings Blu Ray, and that is the same track list as any other version of this that has the complete track list of 32 songs. They're all on here. Let me just give you a quick, if you want to pause that, you can read it, but it starts with Band on the Run, Hi Hi Hi, Silly Love Songs, Letting Go, 1985, Live and Let Die, Mamunia, Junior's Farm, Helen Wheels, Some People Never Know, Let 'Em In, Get On the Right Thing, Jet, My Love, Call Me Back Again, Getting Closer, Listen to What the Man Said, I've Had Enough, Love is Strange, London Town, Arrow Through Me, Venus and Mars / Rock Show, She's My Baby, Bluebird, Deliver Your Children, Let Me Roll It, Mull of Kintyre, Wildlife, Sea Moon, With a Little Luck, Soily, and Good Night Tonight. Quite a track list. You know, if you didn't think you were a Wings fan, and then you just kind of look and you read that list and you say, wow. I mean, I would think most casual Wings fans, not even like fanatic Wings fans, casual Wings fans that listened to radio in the 70s, probably are familiar with at least half of those titles. Now, think of any band that was around in the 60s or the 70s or the 80s and think, can I remember 16 of their songs? And of course, the more of a fan you are, you can remember all 32. But I think even the average fan that, that would listen to a Wings song on the radio and not turn it off or change the channel, I think they would know at least 16 songs out of the 32, maybe more. So anyway, it's quite a testament to how successful the band was. Of course, some would argue it was really just Paul McCartney and some people. That's what some people would say. Of course, Denny Lane was there the whole way. some people snicker at, you get your wife involved, so, it's Paul and Linda, and they roll their eyes. When you listen to a lot of Wings songs, Linda's doing the harmonies, and she is definitely part of the Wings sound, whether you like it or not. So, if you don't like Wings, that might be one of the reasons. If you do like Wings, that might be one of the reasons, because she's there. I know from the point of view of being a keyboard player, she was, one finger noodling around at the beginning, but, eventually she worked out, some serious, keyboard parts to some of the songs. I read in the Wings book that arrived I guess 2 weeks ago, that one of the people said that they were surprised when they were near her on stage and they saw that the keyboard had color dots on it to match the music on the music stand, so she wouldn't have any trouble finding the key. I mean, the actual key, not the song. Not the key of the song, the actual key in the melody. So, I mean, that's pretty rudimentary. That's pretty basic. But I do know that over the course of the life of the band, I wouldn't say she became a virtuoso, but I mean, she was able to handle her part, and she did a lot of singing. Paul was able to, in some cases, sing the harmony to her and say, "You sing this part." And then he would go back, to sing, his part. So, whatever he did, they wanted to be together. They traveled together. They traveled with their children. And, the kids turned out great. The music turned out good. The relationship turned out good. And they never spent a night apart. From the day they started, they never spent a night apart until he was in jail in Japan, which essentially ended Wings. They were about to tour Japan in 1980, and Paul got into Japan and got busted at the airport and spent the next week or so in jail, and the tour was canceled, and basically that was the last of the band. So I'm hoping that if we ever get a London Town / Back to the Egg Super Deluxe box, that we're going to get some Last Flight recordings from the 1979 Last Flight of Wings. There are bootlegs of that out there. There's radio broadcasts from Australia that have been put on vinyl. I've shown some of that stuff in the past, so I know the track list and I know generally how it sounds. But I'd love to hear a cleaned up official release from Paul's camp and not somebody taking advantage of copyright laws in one country or whatever. So there's a lot of stuff out there from the Last Flight, and actually referred to as the Last Flight. But I'd love to get that officially, and I'd love to get London Town and Back to the Egg in a Super Deluxe edition, maybe together, kind of like the early box that came out a few years ago, that had Red Rose Speedway and Wildlife in the same box with the 73, I think it was 73 Wings tour live, Wings live recordings. So it'd be nice to put a bookend on that with the end of Wings Last Flight and have a live CD mixed in with the last two albums. So I don't know. There doesn't seem to be a lot of interest in them doing that. There is interest from the fan base point of view, but it doesn't seem to be much interest from them releasing something like that. Maybe Paul never seems to have respected that those last two albums all that much. And some people have argued that there's copyright issues potentially, with the Back to the Egg, because of the super band that he put together for that. So I don't know. Hopefully we'll see that one day. Meanwhile, we do have access unofficially to the Last Flight stuff. But anyway, that was the end of Wings, 1979 going into 80 for the Japan tour. So, of course, Paul went on to do many, many, many more albums, formed a new band. He didn't give them a name. It's just Paul McCartney and band. He's been touring with the same guys for many years now. They're a great live band. They brought a lot of fresh air to the band, and they're quite a bit younger than Paul. And they've got some rock chops, and they sound great. I mean, I've seen them many times with the same band. I haven't seen them on this current Got Back tour. I saw them a few years ago, I guess 2 years ago on the Got Back tour. Maybe it's 3 years. I'm not even sure now. I saw him in Orlando, Florida, in the stadium. So I mean, it was a typical Paul sold out stadium show, 3 hours long, just before Glastonbury. So it was that same tour when he did Glastonbury Live, and was on the BBC, and there's a DVD of that actual broadcast that was on BBC, which I have. So anyway, I've stretched out this this video. My intention was to do a quick discussion just to say I got the Blu Ray and I'm psyched and I can't wait to hear it. And if you're not willing to invest in the $100 for the 3 LP sets, or I don't know what the other stuff even cost, this was a bargain. This was under $30, and it's got all 32 songs, and it's got several varieties of surround sound and Dolby Atmos and stereo remix and so on. So you haven't heard it this way, and if you have a surround system, that's great. If you don't, at least there's a new stereo mix on here, and the price was right. I think the list price was $27, and I had it shipped, so I had a shipping charge and all that stuff. But if you find it in the store, you'll get it for $27 plus, maybe you have sales tax or VAT tax or something. But anyway, you can't beat it. I mean, to me, this is the bargain of the whole bunch. So anyway, that's it for this discussion, and that's the last of the Wings Week various products. Like I said, I had the triple LP, I had the green standalone LP, and I got the Blu Ray. So anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for stopping by. If you liked the video, please hit the thumbs up. Share it if you'd like to share it with somebody you know, or another Beatles fan or McCartney fan or Wings fan. And if you have any comments or questions or thoughts, you want to put them down in the comment field. And hope to see you again soon. Next week, we'll be talking about the Beatles Anthology 2025. So that won't be long. Basically, probably a week from today, because it's due. The release date is next Friday. And usually, if I can do a video on the day that it arrives, I'll do the video the night that it arrives, and then it'll be here on YouTube 8 o'clock the next morning Eastern time. So anyway, I'll probably throw something else at you between now and then, because I don't like a whole week to go without talking to you. But I'm not expecting any new product until next Friday. So I may dig into my archives and show you something else. So anyway, come on back and see us. Thanks for stopping by today.